afternoon, Assalamu alaikum. You're watching BTV World. I'm Fahim Bangush.
And I'm Maheen Joffrey. Let's take a look at the headlines first.
Pakistan warns that India plans false flag operations to justify its aggression against Pakistan. Addressing UN General Assembly, Pakistan's permanent representative Munir Akram says India concocts fake news to malign Pakistan and perpetrates terrorism and subversion against Pakistan.
In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, troops martyred 1,600 Kashmiris, 134 of them in custody since the BJP took control of the territory in the form of a coalition government with the People's Democratic Party in 2015 till date.
Prime Minister Imran Khan arrives in Sahiwal on a day-long visit to inaugurate welfare and development projects in the city.
Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa pays 2-day official visit to Qatar, discusses bilateral security and defense cooperation and geopolitical security environment in his meeting with Qatari Amir and other leaders.
46 more people die of COVID-19, while 1,644 test positive in the country during the last 24 hours. Active cases now stand at 33,295.
Pakistan on course to victory in the first test match after South Africa dismissed for 245 in their second innings on the fourth day in Karachi. PTV Sports is telecasting the match live. And now the news in detail. Pakistan has warned that India plans false flag operations to justify its aggression against Pakistan. Addressing a debate in the UN General Assembly, Pakistan's permanent representative to the United Nations, Munir Akram, said India concocts fake news to malign Pakistan and perpetrates terrorism and subversion against Pakistan.
India seeks to silence the Kashmiris through this colonial project. It seeks to silence Pakistan through the threat of aggression, incessantly violating the ceasefire along the line of control. It concocts fake news to malign Pakistan. It perpetrates terrorism and subversion against Pakistan. It plans false flag operations to justify aggression against my country.
Munir Akram said India has suppressed the Kashmiri people's right to self-determination given to them under the UN Security Council resolution through unabated atrocities by its forces.
Nor can the international community neglect the dispute over Jammu and Kashmir. The process of decolonization will be incomplete until the people of Jammu and Kashmir are enabled to exercise their right to self-determination through a UN-supervised plebiscite as called for in several resolutions of the Security Council.
In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the Indian state terrorism has witnessed an alarming rise since Narendra Modi-led fascist Indian government assumed power in the territory in January 2015. An analytical report released by Research Section of Kashmir Media Service revealed that Indian troops have martyred 1,600 Kashmiris, 134 of them in custody, since the BJP took control of the territory in the form of coalition government with the People's Democratic Party in 2015 till date. The report maintained that 32,422 people were injured due to the use of brute force by Indian troops and police personnel on peaceful protesters, while 33,386 others were arrested. It said that the troops have destroyed 4,354 residential houses and other structures and molested 1,104 women since 2015 January. Meanwhile, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference in a statement in Srinagar deplored that Indian troops and policemen are committing grave human rights violations in occupied territory by killings, arrests, torture, destruction of property and molestation of women by the forces personnel had become an order of the day. The All Parties Hurriyat Conference appealed to the international community to prevail upon India to resolve the Kashmir dispute in accordance with the Kashmiris' aspirations. Prime Minister Imran Khan arrives in Sahiwal on a day-long visit to inaugurate welfare and development projects in the city. The Prime Minister will also distribute checks under the Ehsaas program among the poor and deserving people and hand over tractors to the young farmers under Prime Minister's Kamyab program. Prime Minister Imran Khan is also expected to address a public gathering in Sahiwal. The government has received requests for proposals of 2 major companies and expecting the proposals from 4 companies for Ravi Urban Development Project. This was briefed to the Prime Minister Imran Khan while he was chairing a meeting in Islamabad to review progress on Ravi Urban Development Authority and Central Business District Project. The participants were told that a camp has been established to expedite the work on development projects. It was apprised that the Central Business District Project has the potential to generate $7.6 billion. The Prime Minister said Pakistan possesses immense resources which can be utilized to improve the performance of national institutions. Also, the Prime Minister has directed to expedite awareness campaign about illegal housing schemes by placing their details on websites. He was chairing weekly meeting of National Coordination Committee on Housing, Construction and Development. Meeting was briefed about actions taken by Punjab and federal government against illegal housing societies. Imran Khan directed to take immediate steps to prevent exploitation of overseas Pakistanis through fraudulent practices in construction sector and illegal housing schemes. He said government gives priority to protection rights of all citizens, especially marginalized people, in promotion of construction activities. Prime Minister Imran Khan says provision of quality health facilities to common people is top priority of the government. Speaking at a meeting in Islamabad to review progress on provision of health cards in Punjab, Imran Khan said provision of health protection to the poor was not given due to attention in the past. Appreciating the progress made so far in providing health cards to the population of Punjab, he said health cards will enable the poor segment of society to get quality medical across Pakistan. The meeting was briefed on progress made so far in providing health cards to 100% population of Punjab by the end of this year. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Imran Khan is also directed to ensure provision of best possible facilities to university students as country's future is directly linked with the standard of education. During a meeting in Islamabad regarding administrative, financial and teaching matters of universities in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Punjab, the Prime Minister instructed to devise a comprehensive mechanism to improve performance of heads of universities. He also directed to appoint experienced professionals on administrative posts to improve administrative financial matters of the universities. Prime Minister Imran Khan said Pakistan suffered greatly in the decades of darkness from 2008 to 18, which cost the country foreign debt and degradation in all sectors. Addressing the launching ceremony of the documentary drama Pani Ke Pankh in Islamabad, the Prime Minister said the government inherited liabilities of 30,000 billion rupees and foreign debt of 25,000 billion rupees. The Prime Minister stated that foreign loans increased by 11,000 billion rupees in our tenure. Giving a breakup of the loans, the Prime Minister said that the incumbent government borrowed 6,000 billion rupees to pay interest of the previous loans and 3,000 billion rupees increased due to depreciation of rupee against dollar. He said tax collection decreased by 800 billion rupees due to coronavirus pandemic. Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa paid a 2-day visit to Qatar. During the visit, the Army Chief called on Amir of Qatar Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defence Affairs Khalid bin Mohammed Al Atiyah, and Chief of Staff Qatar Armed Forces Lieutenant General Pilot Ghanim Bilshaheen Al Ghanim. Matters of mutual interest, defense and security, cooperation, and regional geopolitical environment were discussed during the meeting. Qatari leadership reiterated that Pakistan and Qatar share brotherly relations of strategic value, while expressing their satisfaction over the level of defense relations between the two armed forces. Both sides underscored the importance of further enhancing the cooperation. During the visit, the Army Chief also witnessed passing out parade at Ahmad bin Mohammed Military College. He appreciated high standards of institutions and its efforts towards grooming of young cadets to take on challenges of future battlefield. Economic Coordination Committee of the Cabinet has approved continuation of subsidy of 5 essential items through Utility Stores Corporation till the end of current fiscal year. The ECC, which met in Islamabad with Finance Minister Dr. Abdul Hafiz Sheikh in the chair, also approved reallocation of over 2.3 billion rupees for procurement and its infrastructure for automation of stock management throughout the network of utility stores. It may be added that the subsidies being given on 5 essential items out of funds allocated under Prime Minister's Relief Package 2020 in the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic. The government has recovered over 541 billion rupees from corrupt people, and efforts are being made to bring back billions of looted money laundered abroad. This was stated by Minister for Science and Technology Chaudhry Fawad Hussain, along with Advisor on Accountability and Interior Mirza Shahzad Akbar, while talking to media in Islamabad. He said the government has constituted an inquiry commission to probe the broadsheet matter and will take due action according to its findings. Shahzad Akbar said the government has retrieved over 8,700 canals of state land worth 200 billions from land grabbers, mostly politicians in Punjab. He said the land was occupied by different politicians or by a land mafia with the support of corrupt elements.
The United Kingdom has announced humanitarian aid for Balochistan to help recover from COVID-19. British High Commissioner Christian Turner announced £3.5 million of humanitarian aid for Balochistan during his first visit to Quetta. The UK aid will help over 41,000 women and children get vital nutrients they need through a therapeutic food program. It will support community outreach workers to identify and help malnourished children, pregnant women and new mothers. The British High Commissioner also met with Chief Minister of Balochistan, Jam Kamal. They discussed various issues including health, nutrition program, environmental changes, female education, agriculture and promotion of sports. Pakistan has once again urged the Indian government to ensure safety, security and protection of minorities, particularly the Muslims and their places of worship. During the weekly briefing at the Foreign Office, spokesman Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry reminded India to fulfill its responsibilities under Universal Declaration of Human Rights and other international instruments of the United Nations in the wake of rising attacks on minorities in India. Our correspondent Shabir Ahmed Vagra has details. Let's take a look.
Foreign Office spokesperson Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry said Pakistan is looking forward to work with the new US administration to further strengthen the bilateral ties to make it sustainable and mutually beneficial. Addressing the weekly news briefing, Foreign Office spokesperson said Pak-US bilateral relations has been a factor for regional peace and stability.
Pakistan attaches great importance to its partnership with the United States. This is a key bilateral relationship that has been a factor for regional peace and stability. We have achieved a lot by working together in the past. The logic for continued engagement and coordination is even more compelling in the context of shared geopolitical and security challenges facing our region.
Chaudhry said both the countries have worked closely to achieve the shared objective of peace in Afghanistan. He said Pakistan appreciates the progress made by the Afghan peace process, emphasizing the need to further build on it. Responding to a question, Foreign Office spokesperson urged the international community, including the new US administration, to take notice of grave human rights violations in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The spokesperson rejected the launch of Ayodhya Mosque project in India, replacing historic Babri Mosque, which was demolished by extremist Hindu mob comprising Sangh Parivar groups in 1992.
The South Asia Collective, in its annual report titled South Asia State of Minorities Report 2020 has underscored that India has become a dangerous and violent space for Muslim minorities ever since the ruling Hindu nationalist party BJP came into power.
The spokesperson urged the Indian government to ensure safety, security, and protection of minorities, particularly Muslims, and their places of worship, and fulfill its responsibilities under the international laws. Shabbir Ahmed Wagra, PTV World, Islamabad.
The Fourth Pillar Media Watchdog organised a webinar series on religious tourism in Pakistan. Addressing the webinar, the Executive Director, Fourth Pillar, Farooq Mirza, said that the Pakistani diaspora is struggling hard to promote religious tourism in Pakistan. He said that Kartarpur Corridor initiative has been highly appreciated among the Sikh community across the globe. President Pakistan American Congress Asad Chaudhry said that the world must recognise Pakistan's efforts in opening its doors for the promotion of world adventures. Asad said there is a lot for the tourists to explore in Pakistan, and the participants of the webinar stressed upon the Pakistani government to resolve hurdles in issuing visas so that more and more tourists can witness the beauty of Pakistan. Talking about the COVID situation in Pakistan now, 46 more people have died of COVID-19 in Pakistan during the last 24 hours. And according to the latest data, which was shared by the National Command and Operations Centre, 1,644 people tested positive out of 43,381 tests conducted during this period. The figure of active COVID cases in the country now stands at 33,295.
The number of coronavirus cases across the world have now surpassed 102 million, while the pandemic has so far claimed over 2.2 million lives. More than 73.8 million patients have so far recovered from the disease across the world. The death toll due to coronavirus soared to 443,769 in US, more than 154,000 in India, and more than 221,000 in Brazil.
Mexico surpassed India in confirmed COVID-19 deaths, giving the Latin American country the third highest toll worldwide. Mexico's health ministry reported 18,670 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 infections and 1,506 additional fatalities, bringing the total number of cases to 1,825,519 and the deaths to 155,145. Now, according to the media, the latest total death toll in India, a country with a population of more than 10 times that of Mexico, that's 126 million inhabitants, stood at 153,847.
A new coronavirus vaccine has been shown to be 89.3% effective in large-scale UK trials. The Novavax jab is the first to show it is effective against the new variant of the virus discovered in the UK. The Prime Minister welcomed the good news and said the UK's medicines regulator would now assess the vaccine. The UK has secured 60 million doses of the jab, which will be made on Stockton-on-Tees. The government said the doses are expected to be delivered in the second half of this year if approved for use by the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency. The UK has so far approved 3 coronavirus vaccines for emergency use, one from Oxford University and AstraZeneca, another by Pfizer and BioNTech, and a third from drug firm Moderna.
More news from Britain now, which is banning direct passenger flights to and from the United Arab Emirates, shutting down the world's busiest international airline route, that's Dubai to London. UK Transport Minister said the United Arab Emirates, Burundi and Rwanda to its coronavirus travel ban list because of worries over the spread of a more contagious and potentially vaccine-resistant COVID-19 variant first identified in South Africa. The Emirates and Etihad Airways said on their websites they would suspend all UK passenger flights when the ban takes effect.
A World Health Organization-led team investigating the origins of COVID-19 pandemic commenced meeting with Chinese scientists and officials with plans to visit labs, markets and hospitals in Wuhan. The World Health Organization said the team of independent experts due to remain for 2 more weeks in China will also speak with some of the first COVID-19 patients in Wuhan. China's foreign ministry said the team would participate in seminars, visits and field trips.
Now, hundreds of Indian farmers protesting against the agricultural reforms and refusing to disperse were locked in a standoff with riot police on the outskirts of the capital, New Delhi. Protest leader Rakesh Tikait has refused to leave the site. Tikait said that farmers would stay at the site until they get to talk with the government. Several hundred police arrived at the Ghazipur protest site where hundreds of protesters remain. Uttar Pradesh police served a notice to the protesters calling it a nuisance to the public and asked them to vacate the area. The protest site at Singhu border was being cleared with police erecting new barricades, digging holes and tents being removed from the site. Heavy police presence was noticed at all the borders of the Indian capital and angry at what they see as laws that benefit large private buyers at the expense of the growers. Tens of thousands of farmers have been camped peacefully at the site of the outskirts of Delhi for more than 2 months now.
Indian Foreign Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar has said on relationship with China has been profoundly disturbed following the Himalayan border crisis, which escalated after a fight in which 20 Indian soldiers were killed last year. Jaishankar made these comments during his virtual address at the 13th All India Conference of China Studies in New Delhi. He said far from mitigating differences, the events of 2020 have put the India-China relationship under exceptional stress. Last week, India and China said that the 9th round of talks between military commanders to resolve a months-long border confrontation in the Himalayan region of Ladakh has been positive, practical and constructive.
Chinese ambassador to the United States, Sui Tiankai, has said that China-US ties are standing at a critical juncture, hoping the US can steer clear of the previous administration's provocative policies and practices against China. He said a handful of US anti-China politicians attempted in the past few years to hijack America's China policy and push China-US relations down the precipice of confrontation, which has seriously damaged the fundamental interests of the two peoples and is doomed to failure. The ambassador said he anticipates a return to normalcy in the bilateral relations through a return to mutual trust.
Russian President Vladimir Putin praised China's achievements in poverty reduction in a speech at the World Economic Forum virtual event of the Davos Agenda in Moscow. In his speech, Putin said that the globalization and domestic growth has helped developing countries see great economic development and lifted more than 1 billion people out of poverty. Putin expressed that poverty reduction is still the top priority for all countries in the world. Russia is also moving down the road of poverty reduction. The number of people living in poverty in Russia has fallen from 64 million in 1999 to 5 million now.
The Pentagon, on the other hand, said that the Biden administration believes it's hard to see a way forward for the negotiated settlement with the Taliban unless the militant group meets its commitments under a 2020 deal, although Washington remains committed to the effort. While talking to reporters, Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said that without them meeting their commitments to renounce terrorism and to stop the violent attacks on the Afghan National Security Forces, it's very hard to see a specific way forward for the negotiated settlement, but we are still committed to that.
The State Department official said President Joe Biden has named Robert Malley as Special U.S. Envoy for Iran, giving the veteran diplomat a leading role in one of the most daunting and politically divisive foreign policy challenges facing the new administration. Ali was a key member of former President Barack Obama's team that negotiated the 2015 nuclear accord with Iran and world powers, an agreement that former President Donald Trump abandoned in 2018 despite strong opposition from Washington's European allies.
A leak of liquid nitrogen at a poultry plant in the U.S. state of Georgia has killed 6 people. The officials say 12 others were hospitalized following the incident at the Foundation Food Group plant in the city of Gainesville. The cause of the leak of the plant is yet to be ascertained.
An AG-Tech startup building massive indoor farms to change the way we feed ourselves has harvested its first chemical-free crop grown entirely with rainwater. The 60-acre facility in Moorhead, Kentucky is among the largest climate-controlled indoor farms in the U.S. Let's take a look.
A massive indoor eco-farm, and it's just harvested its first crop. These beefsteak tomatoes are chemical pesticide-free, non-GMO, and grown with 100% rainwater. The 60-acre facility in Moorhead, Kentucky is among the largest climate-controlled indoor farms in the U.S. Behind it is ag-tech startup AppHarvest and CEO Jonathan Webb.
It's a totally different way of looking at agriculture. There's a lot of different reasons that what makes AppHarvest unique. Our technology, the way in which we handle water, the way in which we get chemicals out of our growing practice. We're degrading our soils to a point that we're not going to have a choice. So we plan on, when all said and done, growing just about all fruit and vegetables in a controlled environment here at AppHarvest. But the big picture thesis is that's where agriculture as a whole is moving.
The indoor farm is designed to use 90% less water, with yields up to 30 times higher than traditional open field agriculture on the same amount of land. AppHarvest has 2 more farms currently under construction and plans to open 12 by 2025. They're also preparing to list publicly. Its board includes TV personality Martha Stewart.
Organic food nowadays is so expensive. I just went to the grocery store on Saturday here in my neighborhood, and my bill was $98 for a very small cart of organic vegetables. Very small. I just was testing what was going on. And I hope that we are able, under these amazing conditions in these beautifully built and constructed greenhouses, to grow some of the best food we have ever had here in America.
South Africa set a target of 88 runs for Pakistan to win the first test after visitors were dismissed for 245 in their second innings on the 4th day in Karachi. BTV Sports is telecasting the match live. Earlier, South Africa were all out on 245 runs and set a target of 88 runs for Pakistan to win the first cricket test. Left-arm spinner Noman Ali took 5 for 35, while Yasir Shah finished with 4 for 79 after South Africa resumed at 187 for 4. Temba Bavuma was the last man out for 40. Openers Aiden Makram and Dean Elgar provided 48 runs stand for the first wicket. Elgar made 29 before Yasir Shah got his wicket. Makram and Rassie van der Dusen then added 127 runs stand for the second wicket. Both stabilised and the Proteus innings and completed half-centuries. South Africa were in good position at 175 for 1, but they lost 3 quick wickets for just 10 runs. Pakistan in their first innings were bowled out for 378. Now, to talk more about this, we have online with us our sports correspondent and anchor Ali Gohar. Ali, now this was a target of 88 runs that we see, and this was, of course, the second innings, the 4th day, the first test. I mean, what do you take of this 88 runs target for Pakistan?
Yeah, they'll do it easily. But the 88 runs, even for Pakistan, shouldn't be an issue. There would have been some worry if the South Africans had gotten that lead up to maybe 150, 160. back in 1997, I know it's a very long time ago, South Africa did win a test match in Faisalabad on the 5th day when Pakistan were chasing, I think, 145. It was something like that. But full credit to Pakistan. They came out strongly. They looked hungry. They knew that they needed to do something special after the way they lost to New Zealand. Change of conditions and change of personnel certainly helped them. And this wicket suited their spinners, particularly Yasir Shah, and then the debutant Noman, who picked up 5 wickets. Full credit to Noman. It's been a dream debut for Noman Ali. So it's been a complete performance, and I think we should also mention that the fact that Pakistan had a long tail in this test match served them well. At the end of day 2, they led by 88, and then the tail got that lead up to 158. Now that's huge, right? That's why it's so important for your tail to wag consistently. That's the difference between winning and losing test matches. These little things, are very important to highlight. South Africa was soft. I thought, after the way the Markram and Van der Dussen showed resilience after that partnership broke, they went into their shell. They were unsure about how to tackle the spinners. They were going hard at the ball. So they have a lot of thinking to do before the second test match. Conditions in Pindi will be slightly different. I think the pitch will be slightly more helpful for the seamers. It's cold. It's cold and a little bit muggy, so that may suit the South African fast bowlers. But all in all, it's been a good test match. It's been good, fighting, spirited test match cricket. I haven't seen reverse swing in test cricket for so long, and it was wonderful to see. So I'm glad we're all happy that cricket's back in Pakistan, and the Pakistani fans should be thrilled that they've done so well, especially after the battering, the hammering that they got in New Zealand.
Also, Ali, we know that Noman Ali, he was playing his debut, and how would you comment on his performance? I mean, Pakistan played well, it was their home ground. How would you comment on that?
I mean, look, Noman has been playing test cricket for ages. He's 34 years of age, finally been rewarded. And it just goes to show that even if you're a debutant, and if you have knowledge of the conditions, I'm sure he's played a lot in Karachi, if you have knowledge about the conditions, you'll more often than not you do well. You see, this is why it's so important for individuals to make their debuts at home. You see, if he was in New Zealand, if he made his debut in Christchurch or Mount Maunganui or Hamilton, the story would have been very.
Right. There has been a problem in the telephone line. Well, that was Ali Gohar, who was talking to us regarding the test series between South Africa and Pakistan, which was being played in Karachi. Of course, Pakistan did a wonderful job, a brilliant job, as Ali was also praising them. And it was the debut, the Noman Ali was a debutant, and he said that, of course, he has played a lot on the Karachi pitch, and he was quite aware of where he was playing and how he was playing. He had the knowledge of what he was doing. Definitely a good start for him. Now, moving forward.
The first T20 or 3-match series between Pakistan and South Africa will be played today at Kingsmead Cricket Stadium, Durban. Pakistan captain Javeria Khan said that her side is well equipped to challenge the host South Africa women in their conditions. Talking to PCB Digital, Javeria said it is a new series and presents them an opportunity to bounce back on the tour. She said they have some exciting cricketers in their ranks who can leave a mark, and they're eager to make the most of this series. Pakistan have played 8 T20 internationals in South Africa to date and faced South Africa in 6 of them, losing 4 and winning 2.
Mountain biker Danny McCaskill is used to travelling the world to find new sources of adrenaline rushes. But confined to the UK because of the COVID-19 pandemic, he discovered thrills much closer to home when he took on soaring peaks on a picturesque Scottish island. Towering some 610 metres above Loch Corrusk on the Isle of Skye, the dub slabs are angled between 40 and 60 degrees and provided McCaskill with one of the hardest challenges and a sense of his riding career. An Isle of Skye native, McCaskill 35, has shot to fame on social media after filming a string of seemingly impossible stunts on his mountain bike.
Pakistan stock exchanges 100 indexes up 437.08 points to 46,603.13 today. It opened with high and low of 46,603.98 and 46,166.05 respectively. Out of total 334 trading companies, 217 advanced, 110 declined, while 7 remained unchanged.
Tokyo stocks closed low today on profit-taking, with investors focusing on corporate earnings in Japan. The benchmark Nikkei 225 index, which opened higher, lost 1.89% to end at 27,663.39, while the broader Topix index fell 1.64% to 1,808.78.
Hong Kong stocks ended the morning session slightly higher today, but the gains were limited following a volatile week that saw hefty losses across global markets. The Hang Seng Index edged up 0.35% to 28,652.12.
Wall Street stocks staged a partial rebound from the prior session's rout following mixed economic data as shares of GameStop and others continued to gyrate. The Dow Jones Industrial Average finished up 1% at 30,603.36. The broad-based S&P 500 also won 1% to 3,787.38, while the tech-rich Nasdaq Composite Index advanced 0.5% to 13,337.16.
In Asian markets, oil prices are mixed. In both contracts, West Texas Intermediate is down 0.1% at $52.27 per barrel, while Brent North Sea crude is up 0.2% at $55.62 per barrel.
Cold and dry weather is likely to prevail over most parts of the country during the next 24 hours. However, partly cloudy weather conditions are expected in Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Gilgit-Baltistan, while very cold weather is expected in Kashmir and Balochistan during this period.
Well, this was all for now. For more details and live streaming, log on to our website world.ptv.com.pk. You can find us on Facebook page with the name PTV World, and also follow us on Twitter handle @WorldPTV. From Fahim and Maheen, it's goodbye for now.